My daughter asked me 3 times in one week how much the house was worth. Not, "How are you, Dad?" Not, "Want to grab dinner?" "Dad, have you seen the property values in this area lately? This house has to be worth at least $3 million now, right?" The first time, I thought she was just making conversation. The second time, I figured she was curious about the real estate market. The third time, standing in my kitchen with her husband Craig smirking behind her, I knew something was wrong. I'm William Harrison, 68 years old. My wife Sarah died 3 years ago. Pancreatic cancer, 18 months of hell. Our daughter Rebecca is 38, married to Craig Bennett for 6 years. They've been living in our guest house for 4 years. Temporarily, they said. 4 years is a long temporary. But that Tuesday morning when Rebecca asked about the house value for the third time, when Craig's eyes went to my hands like he was counting the rings I wore, when both of them exchanged that look, that calculating, hungry look, I felt my gut twist. Something was very wrong. That afternoon, the grandfather clock stopped working. The antique clock Sarah and I bought on our honeymoon. I'd wound it every Sunday for 37 years. She'd made it a ritual. Sunday morning, coffee, wind the clock, start the week together. Now it was silent. Another piece of Sarah gone. I called the repair shop. They sent a clockmaker that same day. He was young, careful with his tools, opened the case, examined the mechanism, reached into the upper cabinet where the weights hung. Then he stopped. "Mr. Harrison, there's something wedged behind the chime assembly." He pulled out an envelope, yellowed, sealed with wax, my name written across the front in Sarah's handwriting. My hands started shaking before I even touched it. The clockmaker saw my face. I'll work in another room. Take your time, sir." I sat in my study and opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside was a letter, dated 4 years ago, 1 year before Sarah died. "My dearest William, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I hid this letter where I knew you'd find it eventually, when the clock stopped. I calculated we had about 5 years before it needed repair. So if you're reading this, I've been dead at least a year. I need to tell you something I was too afraid to say while alive. Our daughter Rebecca and her husband Craig are planning to rob you." I stopped breathing. I know how that sounds. I know you won't want to believe it, but William, I found documents, plans, timelines. They're waiting for me to die first so they can take everything from you. My vision blurred. I had to set the letter down, grip the desk, force air into my lungs. Rebecca, our daughter, the little girl I'd taught to ride a bike, helped through college, walked down the aisle, planning to rob me. I picked up the letter again. "Last month, Rebecca asked me to bring Craig's briefcase to the hospital when he had that procedure. You remember, the minor surgery, nothing serious. She was at work. I brought it to him. I shouldn't have looked inside, but William, something made me open it. Inside were property appraisals for our entire estate, copies of your investment statements. How did they get those? And a handwritten timeline in Craig's writing. The timeline had steps, actual steps, numbered like a business plan. Step 1, move into guest house, completed. Step 2, establish financial dependence, ongoing. Step 3, after Sarah dies, increase emotional control. Step 4, obtain power of attorney. Step 5, transfer assets. Step 6, memory care facility. William, they're planning to have you declared incompetent. They're planning to take everything we spent 40 years building, and they're waiting for me to die first because I'm the obstacle." The letter fell from my hands onto the desk. Memory care facility. They were planning to lock me away. I looked out the study window. The guest house sat 50 yards from the main house. I could see Craig's car in the driveway, could see lights on in their windows. Right now, this very moment, they were in there, living rent-free on my property, eating food I paid for, planning how to steal my life. I picked up the letter with shaking hands. I made copies of everything. They're in safety deposit box 847 at First National Bank. The key is hidden in my jewelry box, in the false bottom you built for me. Remember? For my grandmother's pearls. I'm writing this instead of telling you because I'm a coward, William. I can't bear to see your face when you learn the truth about Rebecca. I can't stand the thought of being there when your heart breaks. But I can warn you. I can leave you this letter and pray you find it in time. There's more, so much more. Craig's background, Rebecca's involvement, the doctor they've already contacted who'll provide false medical testimony for $5,000. It's all in the safety deposit box. Protect yourself, my love. Get evidence. Document everything. And please don't blame yourself. We loved her. That was right. What she became, that's her choice, not our failure. I love you forever. Sarah. I sat in that study for 2 hours. The clock repairman finished and left quietly, probably wondering why the old man was crying. Outside, I heard Rebecca's laugh, heard Craig's voice. Normal sounds, family sounds, sounds of predators circling their prey. That evening, Rebecca knocked on my door. "Dad, want to come over for dinner? Craig's grilling steaks." I opened the door, looked at my daughter, really looked at her. She smiled, warm, familiar, the same smile she'd had since childhood. "That sounds nice, honey. What time? 6 o'clock? Perfect." She hugged me. I hugged her back and thought about Sarah's letter. They're waiting for me to die. Well, Sarah was dead, and I'd just found her warning. Now the real game began. The next morning, I drove to Sarah's jewelry box while Rebecca and Craig were both out. Found the false bottom I'd built 30 years ago. The key was there, exactly where Sarah said it would be. At First National Bank, I opened box 847. Inside was a thick folder. On top, a note in Sarah's handwriting. "I'm so sorry, my love, but you need to see all of this." I opened the folder. The first document was Craig's handwritten timeline photocopied. His writing, his plan, laid out like a business proposal. Harrison Estate, Asset Acquisition Strategy. Total estimated value, $11.6 million. Primary residence, $3.2 million. Investment portfolio, $7.8 million. Life insurance, $600K. Phase 1, complete. Establish residence on property. Moved to guest house May 2020. Established pattern of financial dependence. Rebecca manages his online banking, access obtained. Phase 2, in progress. Post-Sarah positioning. Sarah estimated 6 to 12 months remaining. After death, increase emotional dependence. Isolate from friends and extended family. Position as concerned daughter. Phase 3, target 2025, legal control. Obtain POA through trust building. Alternative, medical incapacity declaration. Dr. Raymond Shapiro confirmed willing to provide documentation, $5K. Conservatorship filing if POA fails. Phase 4, target 2026, asset liquidation. Transfer liquid assets to offshore accounts, Cayman structure ready. Sell primary residence, place William in memory care facility, Meadowbrook, $8K per month, minimal oversight. Phase 5, exit. Divorce Rebecca, CA law, 50% split. My take, approximately $5.8 million. Timeline, 18 to 24 months total. I stared at the document. This wasn't impulsive greed. This was a calculated, multi-year plan to destroy my life. The next page was worse. Bank statements showing Rebecca had been accessing my accounts. Small transfers I'd never noticed. $500 here, $1,200 there. Over 3 years, she'd moved $47,000 to an account I didn't recognize. Testing the system, seeing if I'd notice. I hadn't. There were emails, printed out, dated, damning. From Craig Bennett to Rebecca Harrison. Subject, timeline adjustment. Babe, your mom's declining faster than expected. Hospice says maybe 6 weeks. We need to be ready to move to phase 2 immediately. Start being at the house more, not less. He needs to see you as his rock, his support system. The more dependent he becomes emotionally, the easier phase 3 will be. Remember, grief makes people vulnerable. This is our window. Love you. We're so close. My hands shook so hard I could barely hold the paper. There were more emails, dozens of them. Rebecca and Craig discussing me like I was a mark, a target, a resource to be exploited. One from Rebecca made me physically ill. I know it sounds cold, but honestly, I'll be relieved when Mom's gone. She watches us too closely, asks too many questions. Dad's easier. He trusts me completely. Once it's just him, this will be simple. My daughter, wishing for her mother's death, not out of mercy for Sarah's suffering, out of convenience for her theft. The final document in the folder was a background check on Craig Bennett. Sarah had hired a private investigator. Craig's real name was Craig Mallory. He'd changed it legally in 2015 after being investigated for elder fraud in Nevada. No charges filed, but 3 elderly victims had lost a combined $340,000. He'd been engaged twice before Rebecca, both times to women from wealthy families. Both engagements ended shortly after he'd gained access to family financial information. One of those women's fathers had filed a restraining order. The case was sealed, but the investigator had found the filing. Allegations of financial exploitation and threats. Craig was a professional. This was what he did. And Rebecca knew. The emails proved she knew everything. I closed the folder, put it back in the safety deposit box, and sat in that small bank room trying to process what I'd learned. My wife had discovered this a year before she died, had documented it, preserved it, hidden it for me to find, had died knowing our daughter was a predator. How much had that knowledge hurt her? Had it made her suffering worse? Had she died heartbroken, not just from cancer, but from betrayal? I left the bank and drove aimlessly for an hour. Eventually found myself at Sarah's grave. I sat on the bench beside her headstone. "You tried to protect me," I said to the marble. "Even dying, you tried to protect me. I'm sorry I didn't see it myself. I'm sorry you had to carry this alone." The cemetery was quiet, just birds and wind. "I don't know what to do," I admitted to Sarah. "She's our daughter, Sarah. How do I fight our daughter?" But I knew Sarah's answer, the same answer she'd given in the letter. Protect yourself. I called my attorney from the cemetery parking lot. "James, I need to see you today. Emergency." James Morrison had handled our estate planning for 20 years. He'd known Rebecca since she was a teenager. This was going to devastate him, too. 2 hours later, I sat in his office and showed him everything. Sarah's letter, Craig's timeline, the emails, the background check. James read in silence. When he finished, he removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "Jesus Christ, William. I need to know my options." He was quiet for a long moment. "Legally, this is clear-cut. They've committed multiple crimes. Identity theft, fraud, possibly conspiracy to commit elder abuse. The DA would prosecute this. But she's your daughter. Criminal charges mean prison time. Is that what you want?" I thought about Rebecca at 6 years old, learning to swim in our pool. Rebecca at 16, crying on my shoulder after her first heartbreak. Rebecca at 25, asking me to walk her down the aisle. Then I thought about the emails. I'll be relieved when Mom's gone. I want them out of my house. I want my money back. I want to make sure they can never do this to me or anyone else. James nodded. "Then here's what we do. First, we change every password, every access point they have, today. Second, we document everything you can about their activities. Third, I'm referring you to someone who specializes in these situations." He wrote a name on his business card. Thomas Kane, private investigator. Kane's former FBI. He handles financial exploitation cases. He'll know how to build an airtight case. Will evidence from Sarah's folder be enough? It's a start, but we need current evidence, proof they're still actively planning this. Sarah's documents show intent from 4 years ago. We need to show ongoing conspiracy. How? Surveillance. Record their conversations. Document their actions. Give them enough rope to hang themselves. James leaned forward. William, I have to warn you, once you start down this path, there's no going back. Your relationship with Rebecca will be permanently destroyed. It's already destroyed. I just didn't know it yet. Thomas Kane met me at a coffee shop the next day. He was mid-50s, gray hair, shrewd eyes that evaluated everything. I showed him Sarah's folder. He reviewed every page methodically, making notes. Your wife was thorough, he said finally. This is excellent foundation. But your attorney's right. We need current evidence. What do you recommend? Audio surveillance in your home. Small devices, hidden in common areas. Completely legal since it's your property. We record their conversations, catch them discussing the plan in their own words. Won't they be careful? They live in a guest house. That's actually perfect. People feel safe in their own space. They'll talk freely. Kane pulled out a tablet, showed me equipment specs. I can have devices installed within 48 hours. You just need to give them a reason to have detailed conversations. What kind of reason? Tell them you're thinking about estate planning, that you want to discuss your will. Maybe mention you've been feeling forgetful lately. Give them hope that Phase 3 is accelerating. They'll discuss it, and we'll catch every word. My stomach turned. You want me to pretend I'm declining? I want them to give them what they're waiting for. Let them think they're winning. Meanwhile, we document everything. I thought about Sarah's letter. Get evidence. Document everything.
Do it. Kane's team installed 7 audio recording devices over the next 2 days while Rebecca and Craig were out. Smoke detectors in the guest house living room and bedroom, a picture frame in their kitchen, a clock radio in their bathroom, 3 devices in my main house, the kitchen, living room, and my study. Everything feeds to an encrypted server, Kane explained. Voice activated, so we're only recording actual conversations. You and I have access, no one else. That evening, I invited Rebecca and Craig to dinner. We ate at my dining room table, pot roast, Sarah's recipe. Rebecca complimented it. Craig asked about my day, normal family conversation. Over dessert, I broached the subject. I've been thinking, I said carefully, about the future, about getting my affairs in order. Rebecca's eyes sharpened. What do you mean, Dad? I'm not getting any younger. Your mother's death made me realize I need to be more organized. The will, power of attorney, all that stuff I've been putting off. Craig leaned forward. That's really smart, William. It's important to have those things documented. I was wondering if you two might help me. Rebecca, you're so good with paperwork, and Craig, you understand finances better than I do. I watched my daughter's face transform. Excitement, greed, barely contained. Of course we'll help, Dad. That's what family's for. There's something else. I paused, rubbed my temples. I've been forgetting things lately. Little things. Where I put my keys. What day it is. It worries me. Rebecca's hand flew to her mouth. Dad, have you seen a doctor? Not yet. It's probably nothing. Just age. You should get checked out, Craig said. His voice was concerned, but his eyes were calculating. Just to be safe, these things are better caught early. Maybe you're right. I'll make an appointment. After they left, I sat in my study and waited. At 10:47 p.m., the recording devices activated. Kane had set up an app on my phone that alerted me when conversations were being captured. I opened it, put in my earbuds, and listened. Craig's voice came through crystal clear. Holy shit! Did you hear him? Rebecca laughed. Forgetting things, getting his affairs in order. This is perfect. Better than perfect. He's basically asking us to take control. We need to move fast, get him to a doctor who'll document cognitive decline. Already texted Shapiro. He'll see William next week, run some basic tests and provide documentation of early dementia. For $5,000? worth every penny. Once we have medical documentation, getting POA is automatic. Then we move to phase 4. The house sells in what, 60 days? If we price it right, 30. Market's hot. We list at 3.2, probably get 3.4. Then we just need to park him somewhere while we liquidate everything else. Rebecca's voice dropped. What about his friends? His attorney? Someone might ask questions. What friends? We've already isolated him from everyone who mattered. His attorney won't question a POA if we have medical docs, and once he's in Meadowbrook, it doesn't matter what anyone suspects. By the time anyone figures it out, we'll be in Grand Cayman with new accounts. How long do we keep him at Meadowbrook? Craig paused. Long as it takes to sell everything. After that, who cares? Place like that, old guy with dementia, anything can happen. Falls, infections, happens all the time. Craig? What? I'm just saying these facilities aren't exactly known for their care quality. We're paying $8,000 a month for minimal oversight. Things happen. Silence. Then Rebecca. I can't believe this is finally happening. 4 years of playing the devoted daughter. I'm so tired of pretending. Just a few more weeks, babe. Few more weeks of the act, then we're done. No more boring dinners, no more pretending to care about his stupid stories. We get the money and we're gone. And the divorce? Do it. Kane's team installed 7 audio recording devices over the next 2 days while Rebecca and Craig were out. Smoke detectors in the guest house living room and bedroom, a picture frame in their kitchen, a clock radio in their bathroom, 3 devices in my main house, the kitchen, living room, and my study. Everything feeds to an encrypted server, Kane explained. Voice activated, so we're only recording actual conversations. You and I have access, no one else. That evening, I invited Rebecca and Craig to dinner. We ate at my dining room table. Pot roast, Sarah's recipe. Rebecca complimented it. Craig asked about my day. Normal family conversation. Over dessert, I broached the subject. I've been thinking, I said carefully, about the future, about getting my affairs in order. Rebecca's eyes sharpened. What do you mean, Dad? I'm not getting any younger. Your mother's death made me realize I need to be more organized. The will, power of attorney, all that stuff I've been putting off. Craig leaned forward. That's really smart, William. It's important to have those things documented. I was wondering if you two might help me. Rebecca, you're so good with paperwork. And Craig, you understand finances better than I do. I watched my daughter's face transform. Excitement, greed, barely contained. Of course we'll help, Dad. That's what family's for. There's something else. I paused, rubbed my temples. I've been forgetting things lately. Little things. Where I put my keys, what day it is. It worries me. Rebecca's hand flew to her mouth. Dad, have you seen a doctor? Not yet. It's probably nothing. Just age. You should get checked out, Craig said. His voice was concerned, but his eyes were calculating. Just to be safe. These things are better caught early. Maybe you're right. I'll make an appointment. After they left, I sat in my study and waited. At 10:47 p.m., the recording devices activated. Kane had set up an app on my phone that alerted me when conversations were being captured. I opened it, put in my earbuds, and listened. Craig's voice came through crystal clear. Holy shit, did you hear him? Rebecca laughed. Forgetting things? Getting his affairs in order? This is perfect. Better than perfect. He's basically asking us to take control. We need to move fast, get him to a doctor who'll document cognitive decline. Already texted Shapiro. He'll see William next week, run some basic tests, and provide documentation of early dementia. For $5,000? Worth every penny. Once we have medical documentation, getting POA is automatic. Then we move to phase 4. The house sells in what, 60 days? If we price it right, 30. Market's hot. We list at 3.2, probably get 3.4. Then we just need to park him somewhere while we liquidate everything else. Rebecca's voice dropped. What about his friends, his attorney? Someone might ask questions. What friends? We've already isolated him from everyone who mattered. His attorney won't question a POA if we have medical docs, and once he's in Meadowbrook, it doesn't matter what anyone suspects. By the time anyone figures it out, we'll be in Grand Cayman with new accounts. How long do we keep him at Meadowbrook? Craig paused. Long as it takes to sell everything. After that, who cares? Place like that, old guy with dementia, anything can happen. Falls, infections, happens all the time. Craig, what? I'm just saying. These facilities aren't exactly known for their care quality. We're paying $8,000 a month for minimal oversight. Things happen. Silence. Then Rebecca. I can't believe this is finally happening. 4 years of playing the devoted daughter. I'm so tired of pretending. Just a few more weeks, babe. Few more weeks of the act, then we're done. No more boring dinners. No more pretending to care about his stupid stories. We get the money and we're gone. And the divorce?
Already have the lawyer lined up. California is a no-fault state. We'll be divorced in 6 months, split everything 50-50, and you never have to see me again if you don't want to. Rebecca laughed. That's the plan, remember? This was always business. Best business decision I ever made, burying into $11 million. They kept talking, but I pulled out my earbuds. Couldn't listen anymore. My daughter, discussing my death like a business transaction, discussing the act of caring about me. 4 years of lies, of manipulation, of pretending to love her father. I forwarded the recording to Kane and James. Kane called within minutes. We've got them. This is conspiracy, fraud, elder abuse. The DA will prosecute on this alone. Keep recording, I said. I want everything. Over the next 2 weeks, the recordings captured more than I could stomach. They discussed which memory care facility had the least oversight. They researched offshore banking structures. They argued about how to split my assets. They laughed about my forgetfulness act. In one particularly damning conversation, they discussed Dr. Shapiro's fake diagnosis. He'll say early-stage dementia, not severe enough for immediate institutionalization, but enough to justify POA for financial protection. Perfect for our needs. And if Dad wants a second opinion? We'll discourage it. Say Shapiro's the best. Say second opinions are expensive. Whatever works. Rebecca, what if he gets suspicious? Of what? His loving daughter trying to help him? He trusts you completely. That's his weakness. I recorded everything. Kane compiled it into a file 3 inches thick. Transcripts, audio files, timestamps, everything. This is the most comprehensive elder abuse case I've ever seen, Kane told me. They've documented their own crimes in excruciating detail. Because they thought they've won. Exactly. People always get sloppy when they think they've won. I met with James and Kane together. We have multiple options, James said. Criminal prosecution, they'd both face prison time. Civil lawsuit for the money they've already stolen plus damages. Restraining orders, eviction from the guest house, or some combination. What do you recommend? All of it, Kane said flatly. These people plan to kill you, William. Maybe not directly, but they discussed neglect in a facility leading to your death. That's depraved indifference. They deserve everything the law can throw at them. I thought about Sarah, about her courage in leaving that letter, about what she would want. I need them to know, I said finally. I need Rebecca to understand that I know everything, that her mother knew, that every smile, every hug, every I love you, Dad, was a lie, and I see it now. You want to confront them before the arrest? Yes, I want to play them the recordings, show them Sarah's letter, make sure they understand that they didn't just fail, they failed because a dying woman outsmarted them. James nodded slowly. It's risky. They could run. They won't. They think they've already won. I invited Rebecca and Craig for dinner on a Saturday evening in November, 3 weeks after I'd found Sarah's letter. I want to discuss the estate planning, I told Rebecca on the phone. Maybe sign some of those papers you mentioned. Her excitement was palpable. That's great, Dad. Really great. We'll be there at 6. I spent the day preparing. Not food. I ordered catering, but I prepared the technology. Kane helped me set up a large monitor in the dining room, connected to a laptop, connected to speakers. You sure about this? Kane asked.
I need her to hear her mother's voice, needs to know Sarah saw through her. Rebecca and Craig arrived exactly on time, both dressed nicely, smiles wide, playing their roles perfectly. "Dad, you look good." Rebecca hugged me. "Thanks for doing this." Craig shook my hand. "Getting your affairs organized is so important." We ate dinner making small talk. Rebecca told stories about her marketing job. I'd later learned she'd been fired months ago and never told me. Craig discussed his consulting work, completely fictional. Both asked about my health, my memory, my well-being. Perfect, loving family. After dessert, I stood. "Before we discuss paperwork, I need to show you something." I turned on the monitor. Sarah's face filled the screen. I'd scanned her letter, turned it into a presentation, her handwriting displayed line by line while I read aloud. "Dad, what is this?" Rebecca's smile faltered. I read the entire letter, every word. Sarah's discovery of Craig's plan, her warning, her love, her apology for not being stronger. The room went silent. "Mom was sick," Rebecca said, finally. Her voice was careful, controlled. "She was on heavy medication. She wasn't thinking clearly." I pulled out the folder from the safe deposit box, placed it on the table. She was thinking very clearly. She hired an investigator, found out Craig's real name, his criminal history, his pattern of targeting wealthy families. She documented everything. Craig's face went white. I opened the laptop. But Sarah's evidence is 4 years old, so I got current evidence. I pressed play. Their voices filled the dining room. "We get the money and we're gone. No more pretending to care about his stupid stories. Place like that, old guy with dementia, anything can happen. Marrying into $11 million. I played recording after recording, 20 minutes of their own voices, their own words, their own plan laid bare. Rebecca was crying, not sad tears, angry tears, trapped tears. Craig tried to stand. "This is illegal. You can't record people without—" "It's my property. I can record anything that happens on my property. Every conversation is admissible in court." "Court?" Rebecca's voice cracked. "The district attorney already has copies. You're both being charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, financial exploitation of an elderly person, and conspiracy to commit elder abuse. The Attorney General is also interested in your offshore banking structure." I pulled out my phone, dialed the number I had ready. 2 men in suits walked through my front door. Kane and a Connecticut State Police detective. "Rebecca Harrison, Craig Bennett, you're under arrest." The chaos was immediate. Craig shouting about lawyers, Rebecca screaming that I couldn't do this, that she was my daughter. Handcuffs, Miranda rights, cold professional police language. As they led Rebecca toward the door, she turned to me. "I'm your daughter," she said again, quieter this time. "Your only child. How can you do this to me?" I pulled out Sarah's letter one more time, held it up so she could see her mother's handwriting. "I'm not doing this to you. You did this to yourself. Your mother saw what you were becoming and tried to warn me. You dismissed her as too drugged to understand, but she understood everything. She knew you were waiting for her to die, and with her last strength, she protected me." "I hate you!" "You've hated me for years. You just hid it well, but not well enough, not from your mother." They took her away. Craig, too. The house fell silent. I stood in my empty dining room, Sarah's letter still in my hand, and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no victory, just hollow recognition of truth. Kane stayed behind after the police left. "You okay?" "No, but I will be. The case is solid. They'll probably plead out. My guess is 4 to 6 years each. I don't care about their punishment. I just needed them stopped." Kane nodded, handed me a card. "This is a trauma therapist, specializes in family betrayal cases. You should call her." After he left, I walked through the house, turning off lights. The grandfather clock chimed 9. The clockmaker had fixed it perfectly. I stood in front of it, looked at Sarah's letter one more time. "Protect yourself, my love." "I did, my love. I did what you asked." The trial took 9 months. Rebecca and Craig both pled guilty to avoid harsher charges. She got 5 years in federal prison, he got 8. The judge asked if I wanted to make a statement at sentencing. I stood. My daughter and her husband planned to have me declared incompetent, institutionalized, and robbed of everything my wife and I built in 40 years of marriage. They discussed my potential death as a convenient outcome. They mocked my late wife's suffering. I have nothing to say to them except this: actions have consequences. Rebecca sobbed. Craig stared at the floor. The judge sentenced them without mercy. I sold the house, couldn't live there anymore. Too many ghosts, too many memories of family dinners that were actually reconnaissance missions. Bought a condo in Hartford, 2 bedrooms, city view, no guest house. I established 2 memorial trusts in Sarah's name, one for pancreatic cancer research, one for elder abuse prevention and victim services. $8 million divided between them. Rebecca would inherit nothing. Craig would get nothing. Their crimes had cost them everything. The will was updated, notarized, ironclad. Specific language disinheriting Rebecca due to her criminal conviction and attempted exploitation. I changed my last name legally, went back to my mother's maiden name, Torres. William Torres. A fresh start, a clean break from the Harrison family that had betrayed itself. 1 year after the sentencing, I received a letter from Rebecca. Prison stationery, her handwriting shaky, unfamiliar. Dad, I know you won't forgive me. I'm not asking you to, but I need you to know that Mom's letter was right about everything. About Craig, about me, about what I'd become. I don't know when I stopped being your daughter and started being a thief. Craig says it was always in me. Maybe he's right. I think about Mom every day here, about her letter, about how she knew and she tried to warn you, and I would have destroyed you anyway. I'm glad she was stronger than me. I'm glad you found her message. I don't expect answers. I don't expect visits. I just wanted you to know that in whatever's left of my conscience, I understand what I did was unforgivable. Your daughter, or whoever I used to be, Rebecca. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in the folder with all the other evidence from the case. I didn't write back. I'm 72 now, 4 years since I found Sarah's letter in the clock, 4 years since my daughter went to prison. She's been out for 8 months, living in Ohio, I'm told, working as a waitress. Craig was deported to Canada after his release. They'll never contact me again. Part of their plea agreements included no contact orders. The memorial trusts are thriving. The Cancer Research Fund has contributed to 3 major studies. The Elder Abuse Prevention Fund has helped 89 victims, provided legal services, funded investigations, educated families. Every person we help, I think of Sarah, of her courage, of her love extending beyond death. I volunteer at a senior center in Hartford twice a week, help with technology, estate planning, recognizing warning signs of exploitation. I tell my story, edited, anonymous, but true, about the daughter who waited for her mother to die, about the letter hidden in a clock, about choosing survival over family loyalty. Most people cry. Many share their own stories. We're a club nobody wants to join. Last month, I received a letter from a lawyer representing Rebecca. She wanted to meet, make amends, reconciliation. Tell her no, and tell her I've created memorial trusts in her mother's name with the money she tried to steal. Tell her that's Sarah's legacy, helping people, not enriching a daughter who wished for her death. The lawyer was quiet. I'll convey your message. I hung up and pulled Sarah's letter from my wallet. I keep it there always, laminated, with me. Protect yourself, William. I have, my love. Every day I honor your memory by protecting others, by teaching people to see the warning signs, by showing them that love doesn't require blind trust. Rebecca lost her mother, her father, her freedom, her future, not because I'm cruel, but because she made choices, because she saw her parents as resources instead of people. And Sarah won. Her letter did exactly what she hoped, protected me, exposed the truth, saved what mattered.
The grandfather clock sits in my condo now. I wind it every Sunday morning with my coffee. Same ritual, 41 years later. It keeps perfect time, marks every hour, holds one eternal secret. And in its steady, reliable rhythm, I hear Sarah's voice. I love you. Protect yourself. This was her choice, not our failure. You were right, my love, about everything.